And hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Hope you've been having a great day, great weekend. For those of you that were out at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest, chance to see you. Great seeing you again. Um, if you were out at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest and we didn't run into each other, I am sorry. Trying to get around to see everybody that I can during these shows, and it was a madhouse. It's literally a crazy madhouse. So I want to say on the first day they had well well over 2,500 people show up, and it was the venue showed it, breaking at the seams. Day one, they started from the moment actually before the doors open. So let me step back a second. Hey, Silverback Creations, how are you doing? I did. So let me step back a little bit, and we'll set the stage a tiny bit. So, um, when I left here on Thursday afternoon, it was 85 degrees. The sun was shining. It was glorious. Get down to the airport. My plane's delayed about 2.5 hours due to weather at Denver. Finally get us in the air, and we kind of fly crazy pattern north to get up and around the weather. And we land at Denver. I just took all carry on, so it was like up, off, and heading out the front door. I walk out the front door of the airport, and it's like 40 degrees. A little chilly. Get up the next morning and drive to Colorado Springs to spend the day with my uh, one of my sons and his husband. Met a couple of friends and former coworkers while I was there, then back up to Denver. I get up to Denver right as it starts snowing. So we wake up Saturday morning, the first day of Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest. I am excited. I'm up at 5:30. I'm getting cleaned up and dressed because I know I have an hour drive up to Loveland, and I know the roads were bad, so I was budgeting an hour and a half. It had snowed about 3 inches, and it was still flipping cold. Like still freezing when I left mother-in-law's place and started driving up. And on the way up there, I passed 15 different traffic accidents on the way up there. Everything from a couple of cars rear-ending each other to a couple of full-on jackknifed 18-wheelers over in the medians. There was another wreck where there was a couple of people over median over here, and then somebody that had shot completely over into the frontage road, um, like a good 50, 60, 70 feet away from the main highway. So it was a mess. I get up there and I'm still early. So um, I walk up to the door. I know I'm about a half hour early. It's cold. I didn't want to sit in the car. All the doors are locked. Wow. So young lady opened the door and said, "Are you here as a sponsor or booth operator, or are you an attendant?" "I'm just here to attend." Like, "Well, we'll open the doors at night. Any way I can at least get into the man trap and get out of the cold." Mind you, I left Colorado Springs. I moved from Colorado Springs about 7 years ago due to bad asthma that was exacerbated by the cold. And I was getting hospitalized like 4 to 5 times a year. Um, hey, Evil Diesel, how's it going, my friend? Awesome. Yeah. Lurk and listen. And so she was nice enough to let me in, where I played door guard for the next half hour, directing vendors around the side to the vendor door and asking everybody else to politely, stay outside. So, needless to say, right before they started letting everybody in, she comes over and fills out a badge for me, gives me a badge. And then I proceed to hold the door open as the first couple of hundred people who have been standing outside for the last 10 minutes are walking. But all in all, it was great. Yes, it was cold that first day. Um, I was so cold that I immediately walked inside, started walking around, and noticed that E3D had sweatshirts that they were selling. And I bought an E3D sweatshirt because it was heavier than the one I was wearing. So that was fun. And that started a good day because, hold on a second, field diesel. Just cleaned a few resin prints for delivery. Oh, nice. 40 minis this week. Nice. Well, let me know now that I'm back if I need to fire up the Mars 2 and get you going with it. Hey, Dutch dude, how's it going? How's it going, sir? Yes. So, um, I also spent a lot of time hanging out with Dutch dude, and Scott and people over near the Fabrico booth and Scott's Edge of 3D booth. And also, what was it? Belt3dprinterkit.com, who had a lot of different belt printers there. Everything from a full-on kit belt printer to an Ender 3 belt printer conversion, both for a 90 and a 45. And he also put together and was showing off an Ender 3 to Core XY conversion kit. Hey, Kaylin. Um, so yeah, it was pretty good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember those days, Dutch dude. I've had those days when I was taking Mac flights from Germany back stateside and then having to drive for 13 hours to get to where I was going. Yeah, so Dutch dude left a little bit after I did on Monday, and he said he took 23 hours of traveling time to get back home. So for those of you that don't know, Dutch dude is one of the main people with Zero G. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, hey, Edge of 3D. So the Ender 3 Core XY is sitting on your desk. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, what is it? Sid to Joss? Sid? How to pronounce it. But show is great. Yes, the show was fabulous. Like I said, that first day was a madhouse. Well over 2,500 people there. I'm not sure if we broke 3,000 on the first day, but definitely, I believe total attendance between the 2 days was over 3,000. It was the biggest show that I've been to for 3D printing so far. It was amazing. Everything ran on time. Sometimes it shift a little bit, but it wasn't like, okay, sorry, this is going to slide 10 minutes. It was, instead of this being at 4 o'clock today, it's going to be, or instead of this drawing going to be at 5, Boron's going to be at 4:50, Inland's going to be at 5 p.m., and they're giving us a heads up at like 2:30, right? So it was well in advance. It was very well coordinated. Um, okay, Edge of 3D was throwing out 2,500 on Saturday and about 3,500 total between the 2 days. Yeah, and I know Justin's hanging in here somewhere and has the actual numbers. Yep, Justin was one of the organizers, Brecore 3D Justin. And 2,150 on Saturday and another 1,000 on Sunday. So that's about 3,150 total between the 2 days. And that's not counting the 350 makers, sponsors, or staff. So yeah, this show was off the hook. It really was. I met so many people. On day one, I wound up talking with Royal Nomi and BC2 3D. And they were, I was chatting with them on and off all throughout the day. I chatted up E3D, and I've got some things to show you guys from E3D that I was given an opportunity to get my hands on. Like I said, I was holding the door the first day, and it felt like I was back in basic training almost. Like I said, I was playing door guard, keeping everybody out. then holding the doors like, okay, come on, people, let's go, let's keep going. But I tell you what, with as many people that were outside, I was going, this is going to be stupid crazy. They're going to be standing out here forever. They had, I think, 3 people at each table right at the front, and the crowds were moving in. And I mean, they moved straight in. Justin, please, please, please tell everybody that was there on your team working, they did an awesome job. It moves, everything went smoothly. Getting that number of people through a front door as quickly as you did has been like, I don't even see that at tech conferences, that I attend. So it was a great job, man. E3D team was great. They had a few things there that they were showing off. That haven't been released yet. The Prusa team was there as well, of course, the XL, the new Mark IVs. There was a couple of other people that brought their Mark IVs out to their maker tables. Of course, you had Pooch from Repcord. You had Luke folks were out there. I mentioned Inland, TH3D, LDO Motors. The Voron folks were out there in mass. Like they took up like 3 or 4 tables. I think they had the biggest space there. Yeah, Justin's throwing some numbers out there. I'll let you guys keep reading it because it's just crazy. Yeah, the Voron folks are amazing to talk to and chat with. I started chatting with Steve Biltz, Steve Patterson. And he's the designer of the Trident. And I started talking with him last year at MRRF 2022. And Taylor, also known as Nero 3D. And great guys, great down to earth guys. And I was just walking around the floor, and both of them saw me as like, hey, how's it going, Luke? And just great guys all the way around. And like I said, Scott, thanks for letting me chill out with Dutch Dude behind your table a little bit throughout the weekend. My feet were killing me. I wore my hunting boots that were insulated because I didn't want to wear sneakers because I knew that we were having snow that sometime while I was out there. And yeah, my feet were killing me walking around on that concrete all day. Yeah, it was at least 4. 6 tables sounds about right. I've got a picture of them, and I had to step back and then lean back over. I think it was a deep fry DFH table to try and get everybody in frame taking a picture with me. But yeah, they were out there massively. They built 2 Vorons on site and then raffled them off, or not raffled, but had drawings and gave them away that the second day of the show. So I mean, it was fabulous. Fabrico Hector, I got a chance to chat with him a lot. I was chatting with Dutch Dude about the 0G and about a lot of the changes that have come out since I had printed and built the parts for my 0G. So I'm now going to be printing a bunch more parts. In fact, I've got a whole set of parts now that I need to see, printed out now, that I need to see if these are actually the latest and greatest, or if there's another set that I need to look at and reprint. But anyhow, I was talking with him. He let me, he introduced me to Fabrico Hector, and I was chatting with him about some things, about trying to see about getting, when I can get a copy of the Rook Mark I or the Rook 2020 kits that they have. I'd like to build one on the stream. And also, talking to him about some of the stuff that I had going off my 0G, because I have one of my lead screws got a really bad wobble. It's introducing some Z wobble into my prints. And he asked me, like, do you have the spring type couplers for your lead screws? And I was like, yeah, I was one of the early kits. So he was going to reach out to me and send me some of the newer couplers that they have out there, which then prompted some other conversations. And he asked, had I gotten on their list for one of their boxes, which I had not. But after I sent him an email and he saw my full name, was like, oh my God, like, how are you not on the list? You know? Excuse me. And so lo and behold, he reached under the table and handed me a box. And this is late on day 2. So we saw Justin open his box on Royal Nomi's, I won't say Royal Nomi, on BC Stream that Royal Nomi takes over all the time. So I've already opened my box. I'll be honest with you. Everything that you see here on this table got packed in my carry-on luggage. So when I say I got some weird looks going through TSA, I got some weird looks going through TSA. Now think about this. You've got carry-on bag with 2 frame kits in it and things that are laid out all the way around it that are electronic in nature. Believe it or not, Justin, they had this weird look, and I was sitting there going, yeah, we can open it up. But I said, I was at a 3D printing conference called Rocky Mountain Rep Fest up in Loveland. And all of this was stuff that I either won or bought while I was there. And I said, it's different boards and stuff that you would use to build your 3D printer. He goes, okay. He backed it back up. He looked at it again. He goes, what about the rods? I said, those are actually aluminum extrusions, and there's 2 frame kits in there for printers that I'm going to build. He goes, okay. Grabbed the guy behind me. Hey, Royal Nomi, thanks for joining. Who actually left a bottle of water in his backpack, and they did a full search on him and let me go. So it was funny. But yeah, the looks on these faces, and it was like 3 of them had to converge and start looking at this, trying to figure out what it was. It was hilarious. So yeah, let me start this way. So I spent a little bit of time over with the Micro Swiss folks, and I wound up picking up the Micro Swiss NG Revo direct drive extruder. And I was talking to them specifically because what I wanted to do was revive my TiVo Tarantula, right? And if you ever had a TiVo Tarantula, the hot end on them sucks. Like sucks. Crappy flow, clogged all the time. Yeah, it was just bad. So I went ahead and bought this at the show because they had everything at their show booth was 30% off. So I went ahead and bought this, and depending on how I revive it, whether I put all linear rails on it or whatnot, will determine what mount I need to then buy from them to make this easier, because they have the CNC machined aluminum mounts. And the TiVo Trench is a standard 2020 gantry. Just has a slightly different belt path than like an Ender 3 or an Ender 3. So I'll have to look at that, try and figure out how I want to do that, and go from there. But I did buy this from the Micro Swiss guys, and they are really awesome folks to chat with. And come to find out, all 3 of the guys that were there are originally from Ukraine. So, yeah. Yeah, well, and I'm going to call you Sid. Sorry, my throat, my voice is just toast from the week. I'll call you Sid because it's a little bit easier. The NG extruder itself, regardless of whether it was the Revo or whatever, I think if I remember right, this won the extruder tug of war that John Schoen, I think it was John Schoen, Proper Printing did. And it even beat like an LGX, which was wild that it had more torque and pull on filament than an LGX did. I also picked up a couple of Constellation Supernovas. I picked these up from the Luke's Laboratory booth as well. I'm a Luke too, so I had to finally get something from Luke's Laboratory, and these are fully built out. Um, Normally, you see these on Annex Engineering machines. I don't have an Annex Engineering, but I'm sure I will put it on something. But these are fully built out, massive caps on these. I want to say these are good to 36 volts on the board. They're run off of a lost for words here. It's the Raspberry Pi Pico, and this is the latest rev of the board. Um, One of the early revs of these boards had disconnect issues on the USB. They definitely need to go the second rev to make them more reliable. Oh, awesome. Hey, Solar D3EP. I am doing great. I'm going to try and stream for a little while tonight. We'll see how my voice holds up. But I did pick up a couple of these. I'm not sure what I'm going to use them on, but I'm sure I will find a use for them. And you will see what I mean here as I continue to go through my haul. So right next to Luke's Laboratory was a little company called Tensor 3D that's out of Colorado. And, I was hanging around that booth anyhow because it was right next to Edge of 3D's booth. And that's where me and Dutch and Scott were hanging out a lot. Hey, Zombie Hedgehog. Yeah, good seeing you again. He was running around like a madman too. You would almost think that Zombie was on Justin's team and was part of the running of everything, because every time you saw a Zombie, he was on the move until he finally sat down to build a rook. He was definitely running around like mad between West 3D and Playmaker and everything. So anyhow, Tensor 3D had some boron frame kits. Now, as you can see, there's a few blemishes. This was their B stock, and one of the things that they were saying was everything's still drilled and everything's still the right dimensions and everything, but the depth on the actual extrusions themselves were a little bit too deep. I think they were like 0.5 millimeter off spec. So if you try to use like roll-in spring-loaded T-nuts, they may stay in place or they may slide up and down. So they actually create an STL where you would just use, print a bunch of the STLs and use standard nuts. But I've used frames like that on Ender stuff where things may slide, they may not. So I'm not too concerned about that, quite honestly, especially not when they were selling frames for $25 a piece. So I am now the proud owner of a 2.4 300 size and a Trident 300 size frame kit. That gives you an idea of a couple of things I'll be working on. Yeah, yeah, streaming, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, like, there was no chance of streaming anything reliably on on Saturday. Way too many people, and yes, vendors may have brought their own Wi-Fi hotspots, but that many people and that many, it was just a cluttered Wi-Fi channel environment, and it was just crazy. A lot of people did stream on Sunday though, or at least go around and do some recordings and streaming on Sunday, so that was good. Exactly, exactly. Um, so yeah, so I wound up getting the frames. And then, as I said, I was talking with Fabrico Hector. Thanks, Dutch Dude, for making that introduction. And I got one of their boxes, and I had to take mine apart so that I can get it in the get it on the plane with me. But I wound up getting a series of Fetus nozzles, and we have a point 0.2 brass nozzle, so 0.2 brass. This was a 0.8 brass nozzle, a 0.8 plated copper nozzle, and then a 0.6 and a 0.8 hardened steel nozzle. Oh, awesome! Yeah, that would be great for Ecor. It would almost be great if you had like some hardwire nodes for some people too. Um, we also got a M3 heat insert toolkit, so that will come in handy. So you get your adapter piece and a bunch of heat insets. So that's kind of cool. Got that right there. We had a Dragonfly BMO hot end. Enough. You'll see that again real soon in the Trident build. We got a couple of the Honey Badger 5015 blower fans. An LDO input shaper toolkit. So that'll be a nice addition to my input shaper cadre of things. Some TMC 2209s. There's 6 there. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that would be. We need some tables that are a little sturdier. It was funny. I don't think, I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 tables that weren't wobbling the whole time because they didn't have a printer running on them. And this is a TFT 35 E3. So this is a touchscreen drop-in replacement for an Ender 3 or an Ender 5 or what have you. Yep. Thank you. Something warm to help my throat, maybe. So another screen that I can use in something to upgrade something down the road. I kind of like this sticker here. This is one of the stickers that I got in the box. And that is because this is a boron tap kit. So it's got the sensor and all of the parts and gubbins to include the linear rail. All I need to do is print the parts. And well, it looks like I have a Trident in a 2.4 frame that I can build here. So that'll work out well. So I think some decisions have been made. We were talking about possibly reworking the D-bot, and I think what I'm going to do is scavenge parts off the D-bot, because the D-bot, which is now sitting over here on the floor, has a Pi, an SSR. It's a 300 size 2.4 bed. Got a Revo hot end in it already. I can scavenge all the motors. got some spares to make up the spares. So question is do I scavenge motors and piece part it together, or do I work on an LDO motor kit for it? But the 2.4 will probably be the next build on the string. Let me rephrase that. We will rebuild the baby belt, and then we will go in and start the 2.4. The reason we're going to do the 2.4 first is I am now the proud owner of a 2.4 set of PIF printed parts. So you may have seen this on Twitter already. But my color combination is Polymaker Purple ASA, which I have a roll here if I need to print any different parts for different hot end or whatever. And it was Sparta 3D Sparkle Fluorescent Pink ABS. That's going to be the color combination for the 2.4 build. Right. So we will work on building this. What I'm going to do is go through and figure out what I have on hand and what I need to work on this. And I've spoken with the folks over at Tensor 3D when I won this and picked up the frame kits, and told them that I really needed to come home and see what I had to figure out what I need. But I will be reaching out to them later this week to say, okay, here's the laundry list of stuff I need to do a 2.4 build, and go from there and get their kit. We checked out, they had some rails there, some linear rails, and their linear rails were really good. They were really spot on. I believe both Dutch Dude and Edge of 3D were talking about getting some of their rails for a future build. I think Dutch Dude was needing to get a specific size because it sounds like he's going to be doing an Ender 5 Plus size based 0G. Okay, your Z Cube design. Okay, that would be cool, Zombie Hedgehog. Let me just go through. Okay, yeah, you got all the pipes with the dragsters hanging from that, and for the love of God, I did not get a picture of that. So I'm glad somebody posted a picture that had all the battle bots sitting on the table and all of the dragsters hanging from a pole and just hanging vertically over at the Polymaker booth prior to doing the races on both Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, those were really cool. At first, they had a red and blue set of parts there, and I really wanted those, but this other guy grabbed them. So I was like, okay, you know what? Why not? I'll do the purple and pink, and that was before I even realized that they used Polymaker Purple ASA, because that's exactly what I did parts on for Acetocraft. So I still have some of that here. So between that and I ordered some stuff from Sparta 3D, so I had some spare rolls if I needed, if I broke anything or if anything got broke on the way here, I could replace it. You're doing yet another 1.1? Nice. And you were saying, Edge 3D Scott, you were saying that you were going to modify the center logo on the skirts to show the Tensor 3D logo, right? Oh God, yes, Justin, that would be great if you could make that available or tell us what that site is, I would definitely spread it around and let everybody know if, hey, they're trying to consolidate photos, say photos you took at the show. If you can put them up there, that would be cool. Yeah, Tensor's logos. Yep. Oh, definitely. Definitely. If you can put it out there on like maybe a couple discords or something, because I'll post it up on my Discord, and I know Royal Nomi and BC would too. So that way, you'd have that link where people can go and drop them down there. Awesome. The off real. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for dropping that link, Breaker. That's Justin. That's great. So yeah, that's a lot of what we're working. Oh, the other thing I forgot about was there was also a bunch of LEDs. I'll have some LEDs to work with on doing a stealth burner or something else. Ads, ads. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can. Well, let me actually. And yeah, Justin, I'm also I downloaded or logged into StreamYard. I just didn't have a chance to really figure it out. Um, hey, thanks, Zombie. Appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I down or not downloaded because you didn't need to download it, but I did create an account on StreamYards. I just didn't have a chance to figure it out and play with it because I was back at work today trying to dig through hundreds of emails over the weekend, and so we'll have to schedule a time to try and get you on here. If not, are you going to be on um, Saturday show? Jerry 3DHP's StreamYard thing Saturday. All right, have fun, Evil Diesel. Brother, you got to come over and check this stuff out in person when you get a chance. Yeah, Saturday's best. Yeah, so I stream Saturday mornings. Um, and then I know Jerry's, like I said, I believe it's Jerry 3DHP, normally does a StreamYard like Twitch stream on Saturday afternoons. So I'll have to try and get that squared away and jump on there so we can chat it up some more. But yes, very much congrats on um, a successful event. So one of the other things that I managed to get, other than a crap ton of stickers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a poster board or a foam board, and I'll start hanging them up on the walls here, and I'll try and do one for Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest, one for Murph, one for Earth, and we'll get these stickers up on the wall here shortly. Um, so I mentioned that I was talking to the folks over at E3D, right? And some of you may have seen a post on Twitter or two about you didn't get stickers and you ran the thing. I think that should have been a thing on vendor day. Was everybody should have been dropping a sticker or the different stickers and just like get a big jar, be like as you're setting up, I need stickers. Just bring stickers in. Or even better, as you're doing setup on that Friday, maybe have pizza delivered and be like stickers for pizza, right? Stickers for your beer. I don't know. However you want to work that. Um, but yeah, so one of the things that E3D had at their booth was a new style of Revo nozzle. Um, and I was talking with Georgia a lot during the weekend as well. And was talking to her, and I said, "Hey, I talked to him yesterday about um, your belt printer nozzles, and I was just wondering. I was like, when are you planning on releasing them? I mean, if you're showing them off, I'm assuming they'll come sometime this year. I was just curious as to when you're going to be dropping them because I have a baby belt and I think it would be perfect because the baby belt uses a Creality hot end, so it's a no-brainer to swap the Creality hot end out for a Revo CR and then throw one of their new nozzles on. And basically, what she said was they're coming out this year. She couldn't give me a specific date because they have several releases that are coming out this year, such as some super volcano nozzles and some high flow nozzles for the Revo lineup and stuff. And she goes, you know what? Hold on a second. Because I was showing her my pictures of my baby belt, which she thought was just so cute. And, well, I have a few. She did give me a couple of them. And I will toss one up here so that you can get a better gander at them. But you'll notice the different tip style. Here, let me switch over to the baby. So let me grab a standard. Yellow is the standard. Blue is the belt printer. So as you can see, you got a lot longer nozzle, and it comes down to a point edge on it. So you get a lot of clearance from the nozzle, which will work well with belt print. So my plan is to try and get this working on my baby belt because I have that here right now, and I plan on working on that. And I think what I'll wind up doing is I'll just lose a little bit in the Y height of the printer, which is kind of small to begin with. But also, one of the things I was really looking at was, and it's from belts3dprinterkit.com. And Edge 3D has several of these, but they've got a 90-degree Ender 3 belt printer, which is good if you're just running off the same part, kind of doing serial production. They have a 45-degree version of an Ender 3 mod, and that one's like $350. And then you get, I can't remember Edge 3D. If you're still in here, Scott, what's the name of the other one that's a full up kit build? That's not a conversion. I want to say it's like a Lynx or something like that. The Lynx 3D Diamond. Okay. And that is a full up kit build, not a printer conversion. So that was going to be more expensive. I don't remember what the price range was on that. But I was thinking I could pick up another Ender 3 fairly cheap because my OG Ender's not going anywhere. It's sticking around. And possibly build a belt printer out of it, because why not? Every once in a while, you need to build some big things like, I don't know, maybe a chain sword to go with all of my Warhammer helmets that are coming up over here. So, by the way, since the last time when we finished putting this one together, so for those of you that didn't see, this is the Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Chaplain's helmet. Okay, sorry about that. You're back? Okay, good. So this is my Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Chaplain's helmet. This is printed on the 0G Mercury 1. Helmets, the helmet base is all one piece, one print. And it was done at 0.2 layer height out of Polymaker PLA Pro metallic bronze. The blue parts are Xyltech Cobalt Blue. And then these parts are actually Polymaker Silk Chrome. We use that for the hose ends, the sole patch, and the temple studs. It is fully wearable too, right? So the other one I was starting, I still need to do a few accent pieces on it. Apparently I haven't looped the ears on yet. Is a Mark 8 Blood Angels helmet. All the front pieces have been glued. The sparkle black pieces have been added on there. This was printed on the 0G as well. This is the Polymaker metallic red, with the black pieces being Prusament Galaxy Black and printed on the Mark IV. And I did, as you can tell, go with the vented front pieces just to make it a little bit easier when you're wearing it. I've got a couple more pieces to print out for this. And then the other helmet that I'm working on, this is a Primus Hellblaster helmet. So it'll have your, the ventilator hoses as well. But this is the base part of the helmet. You'll have the front face shield that'll go on. And then you'll have a top. And I started to try and print the top when I got home from travel yesterday. And I noticed that my supports, I had some areas that I needed additional supports in. So I stopped it and I need to reslice it. But yeah, all of this is printing out on the 0G Mercury 1. And at first, I thought that this line right here was a jacked up gap line. Right? I had a layer shift or something. But on both sides, that line is indented. Right? I can get my finger in it. And it's not seen on the inside. Right? So this must be part of the model where the other part flips on. But yeah, it's a pretty smooth print. I mean, if you're right up close, I still need to clean off some support material, but you do see some of the, if I can get the sliding, you can see some of the Z-wobble and Z-banding in here. And I think it's coming from that one lead screw that's wobbling really bad. So I'm still chasing that down, but like I said, I'm going to rebuild it with the newer parts. Once Dutch is able to get some sleep and get me some back-end access, I will print out some of the latest and greatest beta parts and test them out for him some. But yeah, that's really what I want that Mercury One for, and why I initially built the D-Bot with the 300 by 300 was to print helmets on, and I'm loving them. I'm going to take some of these Warhammer helmets down to the local gaming shop on the night that they're doing their Warhammer gaming days, and just show them off and kind of get some feedback from some hardcore Warhammer folks. Hey, Pez Liz, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Oh, I got Z and Z here. It's awesome. Um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That was the haul from Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest. It was from my from my perspective, it was nonstop, open to close, um, and it was an awesome time. It really was an awesome time. Justin, you and your team that put this on and did this were amazing. And we recounted on Royal Nomi's keep saying Royal BC and Royal Nomi's stream yesterday about how much you walked during the weekend. And between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he did, I think it was just under 38 miles walking around that venue. So yeah, it was amazing. It was awesome time. Um, I'm looking forward to Earth and Earth this year, and I'm looking forward to, okay, I won the Voron 2.4 parts. Maybe the Voron 2.4 goes this year. I was talking with Dutch about probably bringing the Zero G as well. To be two big size printers. Definitely wanted to bring the Rook as well, so we'll have to see what else I bring, what else I can get in the truck and get out there. But I'm definitely going to bring some printers this year to Earth and Earth. So, oh yeah, and I'm sure, like you said, you were expecting, okay, if we get like half to 2/3 of the standard volume at Murph and Earth, we're successful. You blew them both out of the water, my friend. Just numbers wise, you blew them completely out of the way, and I still cannot believe how many kids we had and how many wiser um, people we had at the show. There were a lot of people that were, some of them were out there with their grandkids. Some of them were just out there. Like I was taking stuff to the car on Sunday, and there was a group of older people that were coming in and asking me about the show and just interested in coming out and seeing what the show was about, right? So I mean that was crazy. Um yeah. And I would say, normally on events, like if there's no cost for an event, yeah, you would anticipate like a 40 to 50% turnout rate on an event that didn't cost anybody anything, especially with the 3 inch to 4 inch snowfall the night of the first day, right? And to have that many people show up on day one in the snow, in the cold, like I said, between Denver and Loveland that day, I passed 15 accidents going north. It was amazing. So yeah, there were so many people. There were booths, and I was feeling sad as I left Thursday, heading out to Denver because everything was off, quiet. I felt like I was leaving my children because I had everything shut off. I was leaving. There was one printer still on that was going downstairs, and that was the Mercury printing the base of that the helmet over here showing you. Right? And by the time I landed in Denver, print had finished, and my wife had sent me a picture of it. I was like, "That's awesome." Right? It'll be 4 days before I get to see it again. But then I get there and there's all these printers and the chance to talk about printing and what are you printing and talking with Dutch dude about um, what's changed since I built my zero G and some of the things that I could do to take care of some of that Z wobble and other things stuff and whether or not I wanted to build an enclosed one and things like that. And same thing talking with Scott about some of his printers and some of the belt printers as well. Some of the pros and cons of the different. Everybody in general, everybody I talked to, if I had a question, they were eager to help. Um, if they had a question of me, or if they were sitting there waiting in line um, and had a question, trying to talk to a vendor, I was able to talk to some people about like, hey, you're trying to measure and figure out what size linear rails you need for an Ender 300 millimeter MGN 12s. Boom, done. How do you know? I was like, I've got like 6 of them back here, basically linear rails on them. I know the sizes, you know? So, and then um, BC kept running around looking for a hypodermic needle. Right. And I'm like, why do you need a hypodermic needle? He goes, well, I'm trying to over here to fix Justin's printer over on Big Jano's table. Really? Let's go take a look. So we went over there and we're taking a look. And yeah, all I can say, Justin, is there's got to be something, a fleck of metal or something that was in, a filament that you ran through there that, a particulate that got left behind. Because we were able to run a hypodermic needle through it um, and get some sludgy crud out. But 290C on the hot end, I can't push PLA through by hand. There's something in there that shouldn't be, right? Because anything should have come out at that point. Hey, Ian Douglas, how's it going, my friend? And then I came back the next day, and I guess you had brought in a new Revo nozzle, and you were back up and running. I'm not sure if you'll be able to heat that up and get it out or what, but yeah, that thing was jammed. Um, but yeah, so Ian, we've been talking a little bit and about some of the haul that I got that you can see down here. And can't remember if you were there on Sunday afternoon when I won the Boron 2.4 printed parts. But I got the Polymaker Purple ASA and Spartan 3D Sparkle Fluorescent Pink color scheme. And so with that, I picked up a frame kit for a 2.4 and a 1.8. To me, I tried 1.8. I tried it. So winning the parts made it official that I was going to build a 2.4 first and then use the 2.4 to print off parts for the Trident build. Either that or I can start working on printing all the Trident parts that I can out on the 01 while I'm building the 2.4 on stream. And then we got all kinds of things like a boron tap kit. Thanks to Fabrico and LDO and everybody that helped contribute to the Fabrico maker boxes. We got a LDO input shaper toolkit. We got a couple of Honey Badger fans, 5015 Honey Badger fans. We got a set of 6 TMC 2209s. Right. We got a Dragonfly BMO hot end from Betis. So we got that one here. It's the black one. It's kind of cool. I haven't had the black one yet. We have a TFT 35 E3 edition. So this is a drop-in touchscreen replacement for an Ender 3. We got a bunch of nozzles, primarily 0.6 and 0.8, but we had a couple of brass nozzles. We had a plated copper nozzle, and then a couple of the DLC hardened steel nozzles from Betis we can use with the Dragonfly. I'm surprised Dutch dude's still up. He said it took him 23 hours to get back home from the States. I also picked up a couple of Annex Engineering Constellation Supernovas. So I'm not sure if I'll use these for one of the boron kits or if I'll put this on something else. But these have some really chunky caps on them. They do have good power separation, and I want to say they're rated to 36 volts of input, and it runs off of a Raspberry Pi Pico for the the 2040 for the controller. So I picked up a couple of these that I can run on probably one of the borons when I build them. There's only 4 motors on them, so I'd have to use 2 boards. But there's they're an ecosystem of boards that they have. So they have their own. I think it's the carabiners for the tool head boards and stuff like that. I should be able to, Ian, because I don't believe they're soldered in. I think they're just pressed on to the headers. I also bought a Revo NG, an NG Revo extruder hot end combo from MicroSwiss. And this I plan on putting on my TiVo Tarantula when I do the revival of the TiVo Tarantula. And I didn't buy an actual mounting plate because I have to make the decision of, am I going to top mount the linear rail? Am I going to front mount it, or how I'm going to do it? And that'll depend on which mounting plate I need to get from the MicroSwiss folks. But I chatted with them long and hard over that one, so that was good. I got a few LED NeoPixels that was in the Fabrico kit. And I also was talking to Georgia with E3D and got a few of the belt printer nozzles that you may have seen. Pooch talk about. So these are the new nozzles that they haven't released yet. She said that they had enough stock manufactured to do the release, but they're really working on what order to release things in. To, basically what's the community clamoring for most so that they can get that into their hands now. They are she is especially really sensitive of kind of the pre-order issues that they had with the Obsidian nozzles, and wants to make sure that when they do the rollout that they've got decent stock to be able to do a rollout and not get caught flat. Oh, I hope the stream isn't. I'm not seeing any drop frames. I'm seeing movement as I'm watching my stream on my end. Chat is slow. Well, I am still running a little bit of a delay. Oh, chatting is slow because no one's chatting. Could be. Could be. It could be that a lot of people are still tired and wanting to take a nap. But yeah, Ian, it was really great to see you there. I saw you a couple of times running around the show. I was glad I finally got a chance to chat with you some on Sunday. Like I said, we chat, we drop into each other's streams on and off all the time. It was good to be able to chat. So Scott, the Ender 3 Core XY you said you have that at home on your table. Um, how's that doing? Because I know it was printing pretty well there at the show, for not being tuned and sitting on a very wobbly table. Assuming that you probably have it on something a little more sturdy now. I'm interested to see the results. I'm assuming you'll probably be doing a video on it shortly. Because the results we were getting at the show, pretty good. It looked like there was some cooling issues. Maybe he's just trying to run it too fast, or some like, the tip of a rocket in base mode, or something like that. So, oh, awesome, Ian! You're going to be out at Murph. That'll be great. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be out at Murph, and I plan on trying to have a table there in the makers area, bringing several printers with. But Royal, you're always like the how can I say this? You're the kinder, gentler, nicer side of the BC Royal Nomi duo, right? Not that BC isn't nice. BC's really nice, but he's the one that talks tech geek speak, and you're the one that's really talking about. I don't care what specs it has. Does it print cool shit that I can print and paint? You know, if you're on the same internet, yeah, yeah. Royal Nomi and BC are really awesome. They they were great to hang out with and chat with all weekend long. And like I said, BC's more of the gets back there, he gets things teched out and worked out and upgraded and everything. And Royal Nomi's like, I just want it to print. And if it doesn't print good, it's in timeout. I'll try a different. Yeah, Royal, it's probably BC's phone or computer trying to tell him he's supposed to be working on homework because he took off for the weekend. Your timeout counter. So, like I said, I didn't have a big project or anything to start working on. It was more of talking about, oh, he did homework in the hotel. Well, that's good. That's good. You had to keep him honest. He had to earn his opportunity to go and play and have fun that weekend, right? You have a web page you have to write procrastinating. I think you can ask Chat GPT to get you started, right? But yeah, it was a great weekend. My voice is starting to come back a little bit. Um, yeah, I came back with a bunch of cool stuff that's going to allow me to do some more content for the stream, but really these shows to me are all about meeting the people and seeing everybody and just hanging out and having fun. It dawned on me late, like on Sunday, that I was like, wow, I haven't been taking pictures with them. Like, let me grab some people and take pictures. So I managed to finally get a picture with Zombie Hedgehog and Steve Builds and Ian Douglas and Royal Nomi and BC and all of them. So it was good. And I was sitting there with Dutch dude pretty much the whole weekend and never got a picture with him. That just means, Dutch, we got to get together. Whether that's you coming back over here for another show later this year, or I guess I got to get off my butt, get my passport, and go for a trip. I'm sure my wife wouldn't mind going to Europe. Yeah, didn't write a good Python program, DC. It can, but did it write a good one, and was it efficient and tweaked? What was my highlight of Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival? I, I really want to say it's the people and the fact that it doesn't matter who you walk up to, whether it's another attendee or somebody else, everybody's approachable. You know, I love seeing the kids all excited when they won the battle racers and stuff like that, because believe it or not, we had winners at the battle racers that were kids that came to the show that had never touched a remote control for one of these things, and they wound up winning. I don't know how much of that was sheer skill and how much of that was staying out of the way and letting other people take themselves out. Um, but that was awesome. Seeing the excitement in the kids' eyes. I remember sitting at the tent, or no, I was at Luke's laboratory booth as I was kept looking at the supernovas, trying to decide whether I was going to buy one. And I'll say this younger individual, 18, 19, maybe early 20s, I don't know, comes up and was talking to Luke's lab about their filament and what kind of deals they can make for quantity, right? And Luke from Luke's lab was like, well, what kind of quantity are you talking about? Because, you know, I, I can probably get you a certain amount off depending on amount. And his response was, well, we just took delivery of a 400-pound pallet of filament for our makerspace. And I was blown away, right? Because one, a lot of the maker spaces around here have folded up. And if you find anything, it's one or two printers that may be or may not be working at a local library, right? But I also remember being in Colorado Springs, and they had a huge makerspace for their local libraries, and you had to get checked out to be able to use the laser, the 3D printer, some of the CNC tools and stuff like that. So just to hear a young kid who's out there trying to get deals to support their maker space, and they're talking about hundreds of pounds of filament. I mean, that just took me by surprise. Um, I just, I know how much filament I have here, and the fact that it's just like, well, I need this color, or this filament's cool, and I never am going to buy just one, because, well, what if I decide to do a helmet and I need more than one spool or something? So, but just seeing the kids out there, seeing the interaction, the genuine, you know, questions. It's not like people were trying to play stump the chump or something like that. They were generally asking well thought out, deep questions on stuff. Hey, Monlight83, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to see you back on the stream. Um, yeah, the kids were awesome. The adults were awesome. The number of kids that were there with their parents, and their parents were bringing them, and the parents were just as interested as the kids were, right? Close your eyes. I don't have enough filament. Yeah. I was getting worried every time I was talking to BC. I was like, hey, where's Royal Nomi? He's like, I don't know. She's around here somewhere. I was like, do you have your card? He goes, huh? Like, do you have your credit card or she take it? Because she may be out making filament deals again, you know? Okay, help me out here, Monlight. You're playing with your new printer. Did you have to trash your monoprice? Or did you get a new printer so you had something to play with and work on when you're fixing your monoprice? What's going on, Poon Dog? How's it going, my friend? Thank you for joining in. Oh yeah, like I was good because I was considering what I have here and the low dollar value that I spent while I was out there. Because I was out there completely unsupervised. I could have went hog wild crazy, but I think the end result was whatever I bought, I had to pack and bring back. Like literally, I left the spool of filament that I got on day one from Printed Solid, and a cup that was a coffee mug from Fetus that was part of the Honey Badger box that Rico handed. I left those back there because I just couldn't get it in my luggage. And my wife's going out there next month anyhow, so she can either bring it back with her or ship it. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Anycubic Cobra Neos. I've heard pretty good things about the Anycubic printers. I haven't touched one myself, but I have heard good things from them on the people that have done reviews. And yeah, I mean, if I remember right, the Cobra line still has, I'll say, a flat cable, but it's not a ribbing per se. You know, it's more like an IDE style cable versus the Focus that uses the thin film ribbon cables. And I have experienced some pain with those. Oh wow, that's awesome, on Mike. That's a good deal. Oh, nice. Oh, so Solar, does that mean that you can get his Soul SV06 since he got the SV06 Plus and just has a bigger printer now? Okay, nice. Very nice. Yeah, so for those that just recently joined in, um, I did get a pretty decent haul of stuff while I was out at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival over the weekend. Hence why I wasn't streaming on Saturday. There was just I I was hoping that we had internet there, and there was just no way. There was so much Wi-Fi congestion going on. There was going to be no chance of trying to stream on Saturday. But what you see down here is a Voron 2.4 frame kit and a 1.8 frame kit that I got from Tensor 3D. These are B stock that they were selling uh, well under normal frame prices. Um, and I got a bunch of other things to include a Voron tap, some Honey Badger 5015 fans, a hot end, some extra TMC 2209 drivers, a TFT 35 E3, so a touchscreen drop-in replacement for an Ender or an Ender Lite printer. I did buy a couple of Constellation Supernovas, which are Raspberry Pi Pico board controllers or base controllers that have 4 stepper driver positions in them. It can take up to 36 volts. So I've got a couple of those that I can use for one of these printer builds. And I got a Micro Swiss NG Revo that I plan on using on my TiVo Tarantula Resurrection build. So yep, got several of those for various projects to go in the works. And I also won a Boron 2.4 PIF part kit that is in Polymaker ASA Purple and Sparta 3D fluorescent pink sparkle. So we will be doing the 2.4 build on stream. What I need to do is figure out what I have here available from the bomb, and I'm going to scavenge the parts off the DBot 300 cube, which has a 2.4 300 bed on it and a Revo hot end and stuff in it already. So I will be trying to figure out what I have, what I don't have, and then I've talked to Tensor about going through them for the rest of the things I'll need to build a 2.4. And then once I get the 2.4 done, we'll build the Trident. Both of them will be the 300 size. Why would somebody attack you on Twitch because you have a Cobra Neo versus a Bamboo? That that kills me. Like, come on, people, let's just get along. And I'm telling you, when we were out at the festival, there was nobody dissing Voron or the Bamboo printers that were there or anything. In fact, 3D Chameleon, if you're familiar with him, he's got it's like a 4-into-1 nozzle setup with a dual motor. Basically, it's a multi-material unit, but you can actually daisy chain 4 of them together and get a total of 16 different colors going into a hot end. He actually had one on a Prusa Mini and one on a Bamboo X1 Carbon and was running them during the show. So G, you can print open air. ASA, you can print open air if you just have like a draft shield or something to keep a wind off of your prints. But ABS, you really would do best to have a chamber for that, even if it's a pop-up kind of chamber, because you really want to hold some of that heat in to help with layer adhesion, and then to keep it from warping. You want it to really come down to 2. Okay, good. G, you don't need an enclosure for, but you'll definitely want an enclosure for ABS and ASA. Yeah, everybody was amazing and respectful. There was I'll say there was some Twitter attacks. Hey, Subsector, how are you doing? That I saw. And I'll say the community rallied around the person that was being attacked. For those of you that know, you know. But yeah, my thing is, why can't we just get along? I mean, I've got a modified Inner 3 there. I've got a D-bot. I've got a bugbear, I've got a rook, I've got 3 Prusa Mark IIIs that I built myself that were self-sourced with an MMU2S that I built from a 5-set kit, and then an MM4 Mark IV right here. Right? I've got inner wires that I've built. Uh, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they all push plastic. Who cares? Like, let's just be cool and enjoy everybody. I'm recovering subsector. My throat's still a little sore. I did get some good. I went to bed at like 9:30 last night. So I was able to get some good sleep. Oh yeah, there you go. And vent stuff through your window. Yeah, that works. Chewy. There's a follow and a subscribe. Make sure that the subscribe got checked. And then you can follow me on Twitter, because I'll always post an announcement on Twitter as well as on Discord. I kind of jump around to various um, groups on Discord as well as my own. Yes, Chewy. That's one of the things that's been on my list is how to like automate a Twitter announcement and also like a regular schedule for Discord. So I'll have to get with you offline on that. You didn't get home till 1. Well, why didn't you stream, zombie? I mean, you're up that late anyhow. Just kidding. Just kidding. Um, yeah, exactly. It's don't build your community by trying to bring other people down. Hey, K2 Kevin, how's it going, my friend? Thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, decompressing from the event, going through the pictures. I didn't take nearly enough pictures. Um, but I do want to say, Zombie, thanks for stopping and pausing long enough for us to take a picture because oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Hey, K2 Kevin, how's it going? Yeah, I'll definitely start posting to the Polymaker Discord as well. Especially since, like I said, a lot of the helmets I've been doing has been using Polymaker filaments and stuff. In fact, yeah, I could probably be a mini distribution hub for Polymaker with the amount of stuff. Like, I need to get hooked up with Polymaker. I mean, you can help me out with that, zombie. That'd be great. Because I ordered way too much Polymaker, and I can't wait to see you at Murph subsector. That would be so awesome. Yeah, I am. I was so glad to see so many new faces. People that I've seen on stream, like Big Jano and stuff, that I just haven't seen face to face, and Ian Douglas and everybody, and getting a chance to go out and say hi to a lot of people has been great. I mean, to me, that was like I said, the highlight was meeting everybody and just the people, seeing the kids that were so happy. I had to take one picture. I saw, um, exactly, my life. That's all you can do is just be the bigger person and move on. If some people want to be that way and you can't do anything about it, just move on. All right, let me know what we have to do, Zombie Hedgehog, to get you out to Murph. If we've got to bribe your wife, we will. Hell, bring her along. I don't know what the hell there's to do in Goshen, but bring her along. Um, you didn't miss much, subsector. But I was saying, yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you and others out at Murph. Um, I I had so much fun at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest. By Sunday, I was trying to suck on like Hall's relief just to help my throat get through that day because it was so busy Saturday that you had to yell. Right. And I'm probably still a little loud and yelling right now because I'm just still so hyped and excited over that, that whole event. It's still working with. Yep. We should be one big happy family and help each other. Um, if somebody's having an issue with a printer, help them out. Use the experience that you have and talk through the issue with them and help fix the printer. That's exactly what we did on Justin's Persimmon. It was having some issue. It wasn't extruding filament worth a darn. And uh, BC was over at Big Jano's desk trying to help it out or help get it fixed. And when I found out that he was working, I was like, well, let's go take a look, and we went and looked at it. And that's where he took the picture that I didn't know he took of me bent over trying to work on it. But, it was just, there was no unjamming that Revo Obsidian nozzle. When you put another nozzle in it, it printed like a champ after that. Yeah, you don't have to like everybody. Just be respectful. Come on in, hang out. Merch starts same thing. Set up Friday, show Saturday, Sunday, and it closes down early on Sunday so everybody can start getting out of there. Most people have to drive back up to Chicago to catch flights home. Most people will fly into Chicago and then drive down out of it. I'm going to drive up from North Carolina so I can bring stuff with me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, BC. And once we figured it out, because I mean, when push came to shove, we had it at 290, and we were trying to push PLA through it, and he was printing with PETG when it jammed, and I could get the PLA to go through, but you could tell it was immediately curling up, and it was coming out super super thin, and we were like, no, there's something stuck in it, so it had to be a nozzle swap. But I mean, that's what you do. It's like, hell, I'm around 3D printers. It makes me happy to work on them every day. So exactly, Chewy. Oh, exactly. It was so weird. When I moved in here, we've got neighbors that won't talk to each other, but they'll all come talk to me and my wife. We're like, how the hell? Like, what sign do we have that says "Bring your problems to me"? So we know all the scoop about who's pissed off at who in the neighborhood. Like, I could care less. We live here. Like, if you don't want to talk to your neighbor, that's on you. But who the hell cares? The same thing with people that you work with. You get a paycheck. That's what you're there for, right? Is to work and get a paycheck. And unless, like, I had somebody that I could not stand, so I had to work with them. Hey, sis, how's it going? We've been talking about you so much. No, not really. But we have been talking a lot. I was waiting for you to come in too. How's my little girl doing? Doing better today? Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, we've had a lot to talk about. We've been going on and on. I'll do another brief overview about some of the stuff I got while I was out at Murph, excuse me, out at RMRRF, the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, put on by the one and only Brecor Justin and his crack team of event organizers that have never done this before. and pulled off an amazing event with over 3,000 people that attended across the 2-day weekend. It was stellar. It was crazy. It was to the point that Royal Nomi had to go and sit in the car for a little bit on Saturday because there was so many people. And I known she'd went out there. I would have went out there with her for a bit. It was that crazy and insane. Um, yes, it was a crack team, and by the end of it, they were probably hoping they had some crack because it was crazy. Yeah, it was definitely wild. Um, so Westbury, some of the stuff that I brought home is kind of everything you see here. And this came in my carry-on. I did not take a check bag. It was in my carry-on between this, my carry-on bag and my backpack. And you should have seen the look on the TSA agent's faces. Like I put my stuff through and I walked through the little scanner thing and all. And I was standing there just looking at them, like expectingly waiting for them to look at me so I can say, yeah, let's come on, let's open it up. I'll show you. It's not anything crazy. And they, like, next thing I know, there's like a cluster of 3 of them. They're just kind of looking and cocking their heads. And finally one of them looked over at me and they're like, what's in the bag? And I'm like, well, it's a bunch of electronic boards for 3D printers. I just spent the weekend at a 3D printer conference up in Loveland, and I bought and won a bunch of different stuff for 3D printers. And they go, okay. They roll it back some more. Then the guy looks over and says, what are the poles? Like they're aluminum extrusions that make up the frame of some 3D printers. Like I'm more than happy to open up and show you. He goes, no, I think that's okay. Yeah, it's clean right now. Everything Plus Ultra. Um, yeah, it won't stay this way very much longer. If anybody's watched any of my build streams, you'll see how quickly this area gets cluttered. Um, and he wound up taking my word for it. Did not open any of my bags and let me go. And then the dude right behind me, they stopped and opened his bag and checked it out because he sent a bottle of water through. And I'm like, seriously, you've got frames like this, and you've got different electronic gadgetry laid all around the perimeter of it. So that's what you're seeing through the scan is circuit boards and everything. And they didn't open it up and check, but they nabbed the guy behind me who had a bottle of water. I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. But these are from Annex Engineering designed. These are like your controller boards for your Westbury one. It uses a Raspberry Pi Pico as basically the CPU, and it's a 4-motor board. It's part of their Constellation ecosystem of boards. And look at these chunky, beefy caps that they have on them. This thing will take an input of up to 36 volts. So you can run 5160s and stuff like that off of them. Yeah, I was afraid to bring my Death Racer. Well, partly because I haven't finished building it yet. And also partly because, I thought, well, all the electronics and stuff like that, like, how would that work getting it through security and everything? But on the way back, yes, these use Raspberry Pi Picos as the brain. So the 2040 CPUs for the brain. And yeah, it's awesome. It works great. I was looking at getting some of these. In fact, I've got a different type of board that I'm going to get, the beta boards that basically work as ERCFA style board for their trad rack, which I'm beta testing. Right now I am using an ERCFA board on it, but they are doing a special board for their trad rack. Oh yeah, Monlight. It was crazy at that show. Now, one of the things that we're talking about with Justin the other night was there's a whole other section they could open up or that they could get access to, possibly for next year. So that would allow them to spread the venue out and maybe have some breakout rooms or even some, we'll say, quiet rooms for some of the uh, influencers or uh, sponsories or something like that, where it's like, hey, they want to just go and, I don't know, eat in peace. So that might be something that's good for next year. Yeah, another 18,000 square feet. That would be awesome. Yeah. So I also got a it's a Micro Swiss NG Revo. So this is their next gen direct drive extruder system with a Revo built in. And if you followed anybody online, I believe it was Proper Printing that did a extruder, um, like tug of war type, um, con- not contest, but type of thing. And the NG extruder actually pulled like the filament directly in a tug of war type scenario, pulled the filament out of a LGX to win it. Right. So I mean, these things should be good, and this is going to go on my Tivo Tarantula when I do the resurrection build on it. Yeah, quiet hangout rooms would be great. And a larger, if you had um the maker lounge off the main floor, I think that would help because it was hard to hear some of the questions and it was such a small space. So I think having that off in a separate area would make everything really good. Just some event feed. Yeah, it definitely. If you're close enough, Mod Light, to one of the shows, whether it's Rocky Mountain or Earth or Earth, you know, let me know, and I'd leave the venue and go have lunch or dinner with you one time just to hang out and chat. Right? Yeah. So are you there in Colorado? Awesome. So maybe next year when I come out there for Rocky Mountain, we can get together and hang out. Because, like I said, I'll fly into Denver. One of my kids lives down in Colorado Springs, and I used to live there 7 years ago. Um, so I can definitely find you. We can meet up somewhere around there and get a bite to eat and just hang out. Um, so I also got some TMC drivers, various nozzles from standard or brass to a copper plated to a couple of their well, one's a hardened steel nozzle and the other is a DLC hardened steel nozzle, Betas. And these will go with the BMO Dragonfly. By the way, this stuff that I'm showing you now came in a um, uh, baker box from Fabrica. Um, this is a TFT 35E3, so this is a touchscreen that's a drop-in replacement for an Ender 3 or one of those derivatives, right? Um, this is a boron tap kit, and it comes complete with all the hardware to include the linear rail for it. So all I need to do is print the parts and go. Um, let's see. We got a couple of 5010 Honey Badger blower fans, right, that came in the box. So that'll be good to add to the one or both printers. Um, a set of LEDs that can be used for stealth burners or whatever I want. We got an LDO input shaper toolkit, so we can use that. And I purchased a Trident and a 2.4 frame. These are B-stock frames from Tensor 3D, who's based there in Colorado. On Sunday, they had, I'll say, special fire sale pricing on them because they didn't want to drag them back home. So I got both of these frames for 40 bucks. So let me reiterate that. I got a Trident 300 and a 2.4 300 size frame for $20 each. They are B stock. You do see where they sanded the ends to get the ends nice and flush. And the big thing is the on the extrusions themselves, the depth of the extrusion channels is a little bit out of tolerance. So your spring-loaded T-nuts may slide around. And I'm like, hell, I'm used to using those things on Creality frames. Either they slide or they'll never move again. You know, so I'm fine with just getting a frame for 20 bucks. So we will build the 2.4 first because, well, I won the 2.4 parts, you know, and this isn't all of them. There's those that are interested. Here are all the parts for a 2.4 build. Excuse me, all the functional parts, right? So the only skirt piece that's in here is the one that has the electrical outlet, you know, the mains power outlet. Everything else is here. And then once I build the printer, then I can print out the skirts myself, right? And I'm not sure. Yeah, it even has the rail guides, the pulley jig, the spool holder stuff. But I don't think it has like any panel clips. So I'd have to print out like the panel clips and stuff like that too, but that's fine. And this is Polymaker Purple ASA, which I still have like 2/3 of a roll from when I was printing parts for Osita Craft. And correct. And there were service dogs there. And there's 2 or 3 service dogs there. Show. But I will also use the parts here to so once I put the 2.4 together, I can use the 2.4 to print all the 1.8 parts, or I can just start chaining them out on the 0.1 for as much as I can. But these pip kits are awesome. They're very, I mean, great print quality. And I just noticed something that I didn't beforehand. It even, whoa. Okay, is everybody still there? Because I just got a disconnect notice, which is interesting because I haven't seen any drop frames. Yeah, I just got a disconnect notice in OBS, but I have 0 drop frames, so I don't know what happened there. But it even comes with the parts for the stealth burner. So the I'll say the Bearish, most likely PETG diffuser, and the parts for the LED for the stealth burner front. So that's pretty cool too. But I'm looking really forward to doing the 2.4 build. And what I was saying is I need to I'm going to inventory what I have and what I need. And then since I got the frames from Tensor, what I'm going to do is go back to Tensor 3D, which is a Colorado-based company, and get like the full motion kit, the fastener kit, you know, all the linear rails and so forth from them, and potentially even a set of motors or something. See, but I'm going to try and go through them and do at least the 2.4 build using all the Tensor stuff. So that'll be nice because we were checking out their rails. Me and Dutch Dude and Scott from Edutech, and their rails were awesome. In fact, Scott's going to use some of their linear rails and some other pieces in his next Zero G Mercury build. So it'll be pretty nice. Yeah, Edge of 3D. Did I say Edutech? Yeah, I'm sorry. Scott from Edge. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff getting ready to go on. Also, for those of you that are fairly new here, I did get some not yet released to the public Revo belt nozzles. This will allow me to run a Revo CR on the baby belt. Try out some of these belt nozzles. And I'm also seriously contemplating buying a Ender 3 45-degree belt conversion kit from belts3dprinterkit.com. I know Edge of 3D has done multiple YouTube videos on their conversion kits, and they were also showing off his actual 90 45-degree Ender 3 belt conversion printers, as well as the Lynx 3D belt printer, which is a full actual kit. Then I guess they also had a Ender 3 to Core XY conversion kit there. That Edge of 3D said he now has sitting on his desk. So there will probably be a video coming out about that here soonish. I have no idea what his schedule's like, but I'm sure he'll be working on that. So Edge 3D. Oh yeah, forgot Ian was trying to find a new home for a printer. Good. Yeah, I mean, if you guys went to Rocky Mountain, or if there's a reason you couldn't go to Rocky Mountain, um, definitely, you know, get some feedback to Justin and the crew, because, like I said, it was a hell of an event, and anything we can do to make it even better next year, I think just it'll be great for everybody, right? So all good feedback is welcome, whether it's positive or negative. You know, good feedback they can act on is always good. Make it clear. Yeah. Well, and that was my thing, Ian, as I was sitting there going, geez, with the turnout, I wonder what kind of turnout we could have got if we were closer to Denver and you could have pulled a lot more people out of Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Because with the, you know, with being that, you know, that far away from Colorado Springs, like you've got 5 military bases down in Colorado Springs. So you've got a lot of tech-minded people down in the Springs as well. So if you could bring it closer to Denver, that would be great. But then again, you can't complain with 3,000 people showing up to an event in Loveland. You know, I think it was worth people driving. And hell, I flew, and I was down in Denver. So, Um, yeah, that's true, Brecor. I mean, if there is a place where we can get closer to Denver, but yeah, you guys were closer to the venue, and it was crucial to yeah to doing something like that. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is an excuse, Justin, but it's a good excuse because I'm telling you, I so when I grew up, well, when I was growing up, my mom ran youth bowling leagues, and we would have a packed house, 40 lane bowling uh, location with youths, everything from like 6, 7 year olds to 21-year-olds. Right, we were full house on Saturdays, half of full 20 lanes on Wednesday afternoons after school. My mom ran those, and then she would set up all the fundraising to support state tournament. And then we would take 2 chartered buses full of kids with just like less than 20 chaperones to a state tournament. And we would go to a like Busch Gardens. I was down in Florida, so it'd be like Busch Gardens, Disney World, SeaWorld, something like that on Friday, bowl Saturday and Sunday. Never lost a kid. Everybody always had extra money to go shopping while they were out there because we did great fundraising and everything. And the amount of work it takes to just pull something like that off is tremendous. Now take that to a huge venue. You know, they were expecting less than 2,000 people. And to have that many people, and like I said, I was holding the front door, and once we opened the doors, I was holding the front door, and they had a line, and people were still streaming out of the parking lot. The line didn't stop. Like I waited in line at the airport longer than people were waiting in line to get into that venue. Right. So they had to do a lot of work to set that up, to get it streamlined, to get everybody in place, to have the event venue people on time. I mean, hats off. It was amazing. And the level of work that they had to put into the back end to make that happen, you really have to be there constantly, especially with the leading up to that. There's just so much that goes into doing it. So yeah, Justin, you know, as much as I would like it to be closer to Denver and would help some other things out to make it a little more central to that entire techie area, people are obviously willing to drive, you know? So, well, you know what, Mod Light? I'm seriously thinking that next year I'm going to drive out, or something that me and my wife were talking about was possibly she drives out and I fly out because I've got bad asthma. So the reason we left Colorado is because I kept getting hospitalized with my asthma. And the last time I was out there for a week, a couple of Octobers ago, and between the cooler weather and the fires that were going on, I was within 12 hours of getting on my return flight, and I started like full on shivering, shaking, teeth chattering, 100+ fever, and spent 3 days in the hospital um, with what they said was an heart induced issue due to my asthma. And so that's why I went out there, and it's like, okay, a 4 day trip, like a long weekend, is going to be my max. And if anything went wrong this time, I would not be going to Rimmer for just because I physically my body's not able. but I'm good. I'm fine. Everything's cool. So we're on for next year, and I'm considering whether I drive out or possibly my wife drives out with a bunch of stuff and I fly out. Yeah, there you go, Edge 3D. I'd love to do that too because I have a sports pilot's license. I'd have to get it renewed. I actually got my pilot's license while I lived in Colorado Springs. But yeah, it was a little scary. It's a little dodgy. I would say I put my wife and mother-in-law on edge that trip. And I will tell you too, getting transported between hospitals when it's 30 degrees out, snowing at 4 a.m., and all you've got on is a hospital gown sucks. Is that what that's what it was? They whatever hospital I got into for the ER, they didn't have any beds, and they transported me over to Sky Ridge on the south side of Denver. That was cold. Yeah, a Piper Sport Cruiser, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I learned to fly in a flight design CTLS, and I'm actually almost done with a. Well, I've got everything to have a rolling fuselage of an RV-12 IS airplane that I've been building. And I think at this point, like I said, with the asthma and everything, it's getting hard to fly. I think I'm going to part with that kit. Somebody else finish it up. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I think I will let somebody else finish that project up, and I will look at buying a flying airplane somewhere down the road. Yeah. Correct. I self certify my medical. That is correct with the LSA Sport Pilot's license. Um, it's more to the thing of I don't want to spend another 70-ish grand to buy the brand new engine and the brand new avionics system and the time to finish building all of it. Uh, where I'm at and what I'm doing these days, and kind of the other hobbies that have taken over a lot of fair change lately. That I think it's more about getting rid of the plane project and then getting a plane or joining a group in a plane that meets sport regulations, so I can fly. Yeah, I love building. Don't get me wrong. I love building. It's an all aluminum airplane. It's a beautiful airplane. Um, but I think at this point, it's a large time sink and cash sink because it all has to be new. And I'm thinking about selling the project and then looking at, you know, buying one. Exactly. Exactly. It is a hobby that keeps on giving because there's always preventative maintenance. Things always break. And they don't break necessarily when you're at your home airport. They break when you're somewhere else. So now you've got somebody else that needs to potentially work on it or fix it if you don't feel qualified enough to do it. And now you have to figure out how to get home and then get back out to get it's crazy. So yeah, there you go, Mon Light. Yeah. And so I had the right wire strippers. I had a lot of the right crimpers for the plane project, right? I've got about 8 of these because if you can get hands to start deburring things like the wing panels, because you have to deburr every single hole in the for the rivets in the wing panels, and yeah, it's fast. It was a good way to spend hours and hours of my time on the weekends. But yeah, it's the problem, Sid, is something goes wrong on your ender. It's a either, oh no, next to nothing to $100 fix. Something goes wrong on a plane and it's a couple $1,000 fix. Gotcha. And you know what? Like I said, if I'm heading out to Murph and I get to drive next year, um, I will look at see, we can get together and I can see if, because I've got multiple routes I can take to get there. I could probably swing by and pick you up if you want to go out to you want to go out there or something. We can figure something out. And quite honestly, if it's a way too many people type situation, um, later in the day, Saturday or like Sunday was a lot lighter as far as people that were, and especially if you come later on in the afternoon, it would be a less intense environment. And I get that because I've got a couple of buddies that deal with some of that. Definitely, definitely whatever we need. But with that, guys, it's, oh wow, we've only been going on for 2 hours. Um, but I'm not going to stay on here too long. My throat's starting to bug me again. A lot of talking going on this weekend, so I'm going to um, go ahead and start winding this down and figure out somebody that we can raid over into. Thank you all for coming out, letting me share some Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest uh, highlights with you all, with some of the stuff that I was able to come back with, and just the great people that we had out there. It was awesome. Once again, Justin, I cannot say enough about how awesome of an event you put on. So please tell your crew back there, and I can't remember all of their names, that's why I'm just focusing on you. Please let everyone know it was amazing. It was well received, obviously, and I can't wait for next year to see how it grows. And I know there's some vendors that are going, we weren't sure how big it was, and they're kicking themselves in the butt right now. And you've probably been reached out to by several vendors wanting to book for next year already. So great info. Anyone else checking for Discord messages? I mean, you're looking for you posts on Discord, or so somebody can do a bang Discord in the chat, exclamation point Discord. That'll give you the link, the invite link to my Discord server. Thanks to Chewy 2420 for helping me set that up. Um, please go out there. I will post on there when I'm getting ready to go live. I will be posting on various other Discord groups as well as Twitter. So I'm Digital Dragon 72 on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Discord. I'm Digital Dragon 72 #1310. Awesome. Yep. Thank you guys so much. And like I said, I'm going to jump over here and see who is online, which we can raid over to. You know what? Our girl Subsector is on and streaming, and I have not had a chance, I think, to raid over into her. So let's go ahead and raid over into the subsector, and I don't know, there was some good natured ribbing here and there. Um, Someone doesn't have a Discord meeting. Oh, you know what? I think I have Discord running on my back here. Dang it. My bad. I keep forgetting that Discord um, auto starts on my streaming. So sorry. Um, okay, gotcha. Gotcha now. I'm sorry about that, guys. I will normally I remember to shut that off, but it was kind of a weird day today. Trying to get this set up. So let me go ahead and get a raid set up for subsector. And thank you all so much for coming out and chatting with me tonight. Thank you for everybody that started following me or on Twitter, Twitch, and everything. I appreciate it so much. Growing in this community and getting a chance to see everybody and talk and just grow my skills and give back, you know, on the backs of everybody that I learned from is awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. We will be streaming again Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Um, and then afterwards, I believe Jerry 3DHP normally comes on around noon. So I should be able to jump right in over there. And, we'll try and stick around long enough to hook in with them. And if I can, I may start building the frame of the 2.4 this Saturday. Or we'll either do that or we'll start working on rebuilding the baby. One of the two. I'll decide and let you guys know by then. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get the raid started. And join me as we go over to subsector and give her some good natured ribbing. And thank you all for being out here with me. Good one.